Wednesday, March 11th. Is it today the 11th? 12th, sorry. Wednesday, March 12th. Market analysis, Stan Ehrlich. Good morning, California time, 9:45 a.m. So, it looks like we might have a bottom here for stock market indexes. You guys know I always start out with the indexes and I go to futures and sometimes other topics. We have dropped off very substantially in the last approximate 2 to 3 weeks as a result of significant resistance for the E-mini around 6182-ish or 80, 6180, creating a double or triple top and a downside breakout on the close March 4th, and down we go. Now, we got oversold for a couple of weeks, fairly substantially, and just yesterday and a little bit the day before, we hit support. So, and that support comes from lows that were created way back in September, about 3 different times at the same price levels, give or take a little bit, where we just bottomed out yesterday. And today, we have an unusual situation because we had a rally early this morning, didn't hold, came down, made new lows, but not below yesterday's lows. Close, but it held so far. Now we've turned around again, and we're back up on the day, a modest approximate 3 points at the moment, or 30 if you're talking E-mini numbers, 3.5, whatever, SPY numbers. And of course, the MES or micro E-mini is the same as the E-mini ES. So I think the market is trying to bottom out. We did get above yesterday's high, but didn't stay there. If we close where we are right now or higher, I'll be liking very much what I'm saying, which is failure to make new lows. It's come off very, very sharply, quickly lately, absorbing a lot of expected bad news. Remember, markets move on anticipation, that is expectation, and reverse on realization. Once the bad news is out, usually the market has a low. In fact, maybe slightly before that, and pops back up. So here we are. Well, where's it going to go? If I'm right about a bottom, I would expect a rally for several days, maybe even as much as a week, a little longer. I don't think it's going to go very far. The best I can come up with, the most optimistic is about 5,800 for the E-mini, which is the original downside breakout level resistance. And then testing the lows we have seen yesterday. That might be a week or 2 or 3 from now, if I'm right about a low at the moment. Let's go look at the 1-minute chart. I'm not seeing anything particularly spectacular here. I need to make a new high, which would be pretty good, and stay above today's high so far and see what happens. So that's the best I can come up with. I think we're making a low as of yesterday and the attempt to make lower lows earlier this morning. And that would have been about California time, 8:10 a.m. Now let's look at the spider. No new low, back to where it opened. It's a doji, didn't make it higher than yesterday's high yet. We'll see if it can. And there's some resistance right around that level. So getting above and staying above yesterday's high would be also testing a little bit of resistance, and staying above that would be a little bit more optimistic and support my idea of a short-term modest rally. Let's look at the SPY 1 minute. And, very possibly on its way, coming around okay. Nothing great yet. We have the QQQ currently at the opening, which is slightly above yesterday's high. The low on the break was around unchanged, not even lower than yesterday's low close. That's looking a little bit more optimistic at the moment. We're not exactly in that support area, but we did drop below it and seem to be coming back okay. In this case, closing above Monday's high would also be closing above the resistance of the high end of this yellow support range. So popping above that would allow it to rally up even more. At best, 499, let's call it 500. My minor upside objective at the moment. And we're looking at the 1 minute chart. Could very well be on its way. I can't be very sure about that, but I like the fact that it has a couple of attempts to make lower lows that failed, and we have slightly higher highs. But it's done that before, and it didn't work, didn't hold. So you're kind of in a flux here at the moment, and let's see how much strength we can get out of this. No lower low on the NASDAQ came down this morning after a higher opening to the unchanged level, basically. Turned right around and popped back up to around the opening where we are right now. So if it gets a little stronger than this, it's going to be looking a little bit better. We did get oversold in a major support area, and you might also notice that it came very close to my minimum downside objective, which is around 1917, 19,020 or so. And so there's 2 or 3 reasons why this market might have a good short-term rally. Again, basically back up to the magic lows on the date of January 13th is what I would be looking for. At this point, that's about the best I can do. Now, it could top out all of them before it gets to the low of January 13th. This is a bear move in progress, not a bear market. It's a downside correction in a bull trend, longer bull trend. So I don't have any problem talking about a bottom of some significance happening. Oh, it may take a month or two. Next, and the NASDAQ 1 minute chart, about the same as the rest. The Dow did make a lower low today, the only one, and has come back up to about unchanged. Now, because the Dow did have a lower low today, if we can make a new high, which is already very close to yesterday's high, we could have a bullish green ER buy signal, like we did, for example, a week ago in cattle, which is doing perfectly. We'll get to that in a moment. So the upside objective here in the YM, again, if we can close on a strong note, and right now it's lower on the day slightly, then we probably could work its way up to 44,040-ish. And the 1 minute chart on the YM, it's got to start to make new highs for this current short-term rally in the last hour or two. And then new highs for the whole day would be a lot more constructive. Again, we could have a bullish engulfing green YM daily data if we can make it above yesterday's high. That would mean getting above 42,130. Next, we have no new low in the Russell. We're around unchanged. On this particular break, the market held, didn't collapse into new low ground, and we're very close to a significant support area. The Russell is a different animal. It doesn't look or act quite the same as the other stock indexes. You can see there's no double top in this particular case. There's your double top in the YM. There's your double top in the NASDAQ. There's your double top in the QQQ. And there's the SPY double top. Well, the E-mini kind of has a triple, and you could also say the same for the spider. Really doesn't matter. Downside objectives are the same. And so the 1 minute chart on the Russell. Okay, bonds. Yesterday, we did have a bearish engulfing ER official sell signal. I think just in time for this market to break down for another couple of days. I have Friday, the 14th, as a potential low day. And now for several days, I have had this green circle on the screen. All I want to do is get into this green circle and then start to move up out of it. It would be just perfect if I could get a low on Friday, literally at 1:15:11. I've been saying, I believe 1:15:11. And that's because you've got two other lows on the first shoulder over here on the left and November at that level. The bottom is a bullish engulfing ER buy signal smack on the bottom of this head and shoulder bottom. It's an iffy so far head and shoulder bottom with a head and shoulder bottom inside it that already worked. Great. So seeing patterns inside of patterns is not super common, but it's not all that rare either. Maybe 5% of head and shoulder patterns have another pattern inside them, maybe even 10 or 15%. And it's not necessarily a head and shoulder bottom and a head and shoulder bottom. It could be a double bottom, there could be a pennant, there could be other formations inside the bigger formation. Okay, so obviously Friday's low, I'm forecasting to be 1:15:11, sticking my neck out as about as far as it can go. Anything in the green circle will be fine with me, and we're getting closer. Next, we got the notes. I want it to come down, bottom out on Friday, a little bit lower. Don't have an exact target in mind. If I did, it would be down here at about 109 and a few ticks, which is a bit farther away than I would like, considering I don't have much time, only a couple of days. Next chart, but I'm obviously looking for it to bottom out. Crude, starting to rally up, was oversold for several days, came very close to a good support area, and now it's starting to make minor new highs, and it's going to be a new high close, it looks like, for the previous 5 days. So it looks like we're starting to work our way higher, probably up to a minimum of 70.40. We'll see how it looks when it gets up there, but I could justify even more than that. Oversold conditions for several days and bouncing twice off of a support area or close to it looks pretty good. And mind your little double bottom there over a 5-day period. And what about heat? Oversold, maybe starting to come back up. I needed to get above this resistance area and stay above it, sooner the better, in order to add some more bullishness to this probable bullish turn. Big support. It went a little bit below it, held pretty well. That's actually another little support area right in here. You look across to see some highs right about there, a little bit higher about there. There's some one right there. You've got a bunch of lows right in here, all give or take a small amount right at the low yesterday. Support. Didn't draw any lines on that. Okay, looks like it's turning up. Natural gas, pretty much the exact opposite is what I've been saying. Overbought, had an exhaustion rally on Monday, dropped off a little bit on the close yesterday, and a lot more today, coming down quite a bit. This is a new low now for the previous 5 days, and looks like it could close below those lows. So the first downside objective is going to be 3.561-ish. And I cannot rule out even further than that. Also, you're going to have a little bit of support at 3.743. Okay, gold, silver, platinum, copper. I made a point of saying that yesterday we had a bullish engulfing. Unfortunately, we didn't get oversold, so I didn't get a green buy signal out of it. As a result, I talked about the market probably coming up. That's exactly what we've got today, the next day. But all I had was really a bullish engulfing. Normally, they produce a little bit of strength and maybe even more than a little bit. It depends upon where they form and maybe a couple other factors, especially as well as the oversold condition. That would have turned it green and we would have had an official buy signal. Next, outside up day, bearish, bullish engulfing in the silver, not oversold, so I'm not getting green, but we do have a nice rally today, and we're starting to get above a little resistance area. That's good. And what about copper? Platinum, I'm sorry, platinum. Outside up day yesterday and a new rally high today. So it's probably going to get back up to 1030 or so. Looking good. Next, we've got high grade copper, a rally back up to resistance. It did also have a bullish engulfing yesterday. You've got all four metals having an outside up day. And it's all worked today. And it could keep going. Okay, beans, oil, meal, corn, wheat, and then cattle and hogs. So, and one of my viewers asked about XYZ, the stock I was following for approximately 3 months on a daily basis. I just quit following it, that's all. Normally, this YouTube is for indexes and futures. Okay. I might, follow some other symbol or instrument in the future. But right now I've dropped XYZ. Sorry. Okay. Support, not oversold, but very close. Might make a minor new low here in soybeans, but I've been trying to justify a long-term major bottom. It's coming close to being in jeopardy if we can't hold these lows. Otherwise, I'm expecting it to turn back up. Soybean oil, oversold, minor new low for the break. Same kind of comments. I think we have a potential bottom in the process of developing. I'll detail it more so in the weeks to come if we do not go much lower and we start to work our way back up again. Being oversold, I think there's a good chance of that happening. Soybean meal. Support today being tested again, not oversold, but we have a lot of lows for a long period of time, a couple of years in this price range. Huge, major, long-term technical support. So let's see if this thing turns around. I wouldn't be going short here. Next, corn got oversold, started to rally. Corn did have a small head and shoulder bottom. Well, it's not all that small, medium size from June through October, including one particular perfect bullish engulfing ER buy signal on October 17th, the last shoulder low, just before the big move. So the neckline is way up here at approximately 517, slanted downwards very slightly. And if we do hold in this price range, finishing a last shoulder low and start to move up, the breakout's going to be again around 517, and the upside objective is going to be around 633. Longer term, very bullish head and shoulder bottom could be developing its last shoulder low. And wheat, maybe a triple bottom, support, basically held. I got broken for a day or so, but they popped right back up again. Kind of like my little adage, a ping pong ball being pushed underwater and it pops right back. So will it turn around and start to make new highs above Monday's high? I think there's a good chance of that. What about wheat? Cattle, sorry, that was wheat, right? Yep, that was wheat. Cattle. We did have a bullish engulfing, and I said so, screaming bloody murder on March 4th. We have seen again today another new high for the rally. It's looking a little tired, looking like we're losing a little bit of upside momentum, and we are super close to being overbought. So a minor downside dip could happen here. Can't be sure, but I'm still basically friendly to cattle, expecting a test of the high of the move at around 204. And what do we got for hogs? Dipping back down slightly, really can't come to a conclusion as to what it's going to continue to do here. Looks like it might dip off a little bit more. So I'm not going to say too much about the hogs at the moment. And let's take a peek at the E-mini again real quick. Not bad. Rally's starting to come back. Yeah, okay. We could very well be trying to have some sort of a low here in the stock indexes. You guys have a great day and profitable trading to you.